What up, fresh takers? Welcome back to another episode, another podcast review. Uh, I am very excited to get started. I can't even contain my excitement. So, for you guys that are wondering, like, who is this dude that is next to the OG? This is my guy Dom. This is someone that is going to be my new co-host, and I'm so excited. Listen, y'all, I know it don't look like it, but your boy's been struggling. Okay. Ever since Kanash left, and we still love Kanash, friend of the show, family. It's been hard to do these reviews by myself. Okay. It's been fun. It's been a great learning process, but it has been hard. It's easier when you get to talk about the movies you like and movies you don't like with someone, and you get to bounce your thoughts off of someone else, and you get to have fun with it. So it's been hard, and it's been awesome because I have been kind of looking for a co-host, but everyone I've met that are really cool people, they're not into movies like we are, Dom. So it has been hard on you boys. So I am very excited to introduce to you guys Dom. Dom, welcome to the show, everybody. Let's give Dom a hand.
What's
Welcome,
up?
Dom.
What's up? Thank you. I appreciate it.
So
But
Dom,
yeah,
you
I'm
gotta
definitely into movies.
you gotta tell them a little bit about your passion behind movies and what kind of got you there before we get into reviewing The Woman in the Yard.
My reviews or my judgment of a movie starts with the budget. I'm always fascinated with how much money they had to create the production, and that I probably shouldn't base it off of that first, but I like to know, did you use your budget wisely? What type of designers did you hire for this? How much did the set cost? How much do all the moving? I've always been fascinated with all the moving aspects of just creating a film. Definitely into musical, so just I'm into the process of how you make these movies and really give a lot of judgment based upon, the facts prior to.
Right. I'm laughing, y'all, because he really is about the budget life. Listen, we went and saw, so this is not our first movie we've seen together. So our first movie we saw together was Mickey 17, and we
Mickey,
didn't
yep.
we didn't get to do a review for it. We may, once it comes out, we'll watch it again. We have to do a review for that one.
It was
But
so good.
but literally, I'm not kidding, y'all. 30 seconds into the movie, not even a minute into the movie, this man says out loud in the movie theater, budget.
The opening scene. The opening scene was the just the detail. See, we're going to start the wrong review.
Yeah.
Just the detail from the first scene was crazy. It's clear that they put time into it, but
Yes.
that's it about Mickey
Yes.
17 because it was
Yes.
good.
So
It was
Dom,
good.
Dom, I'm very excited to bring onto the show. As you can see, his background, he's very excited as well, and I'm happy to have him, here to help me out with these reviews. And he has a really great opinion, a really great take on stuff, and a different view, a little bit from me as well. So that I think that will definitely help me and help you guys. So, real quick before we get into this review, I know we got a lot to cover, but I promise we'll get into the review. So I did want to explain to you guys kind of the reason for my absence. I think the last review I did was in February. So the reason for my review, as you guys can see in my background, your boy is finally moving into his new home. That has been a very tedious process. There's been a lot of moving parts. Obviously, packing, getting things together, moving, getting things unpacked, trying to make sure, you got internet, trying to make sure you got certain things done. I wanted to make sure the office, looked good. See, I can even tell behind me that, my Black Panther picture is crooked. So, your boy is still trying to get things done. So it's been a process, and that's why I haven't been able to do a review. And you guys know how I roll. If I'm not going to be able to do it fully, I'm not going to do it halfway. That's just not how I do it. So I appreciate you guys' patience. I am back. I promise I am back for good. Now that I'm all settled, I'm ready to rock and roll. So with that being said, missed you guys. Very excited to get back to it. So let's go ahead and get into Woman in the Yard. What were your initial thoughts when we saw The Woman in the Yard?
Initial thoughts on the preview or from the opening scene?
You know what? That is a good point. What did you think when you saw the trailer?
I saw the trailer and immediately said, "Oh, this is going to be good," because she's a great. I think uh she's in her prime of acting right now. Like her
Dead
roles,
Weiler.
yep, she has like her range. She's
Hmm.
always the mean, not the mean girl, but has to display such deep emotion in every single one of her roles. And I wonder if she would kind of do that in this movie, or like how she would take on the character. Um, but I thought it was going to be a thrill. I thought it was going to be action packed.
Yeah.
It came off as we've got a good backing behind this film. The preview was well done. They showed all the good parts. And I got to the movie theater, and the opening scene, uh, it kind of matched that energy
Hmm.
initially. So
Yeah.
I was excited. I was excited.
Yeah.
It
No,
looked really good.
that trailer got you excited because it was so different.
Hmm.
And you're like, what kind of movie is this? Like, it just had you, like, you could tell from the trailer that there was going to be some thriller and some scary elements to it, but you really didn't know what it was about. When I tell you, Dom, I didn't tell you this, from the time that we saw the trailer when we went to go see Mickey 17 until the day we saw it, I kept saying, today's the day. I kept saying that trailer had me in a chokehold. That trailer was really good.
Well,
So
I almost missed out on it because you remember I saw that the cheesy trailer first where the young man I kept
yes,
seeing on Facebook where the young man's like, or she asks, "What do I taste in these eggs?" And he goes, "Doritos." And I thought that was so corny. I thought that was the corniest thing. But knowing the character now,
yes,
I the scene made a lot more sense. But it
yes.
almost kept getting skipped, and I said, let me find a different trailer."
And
Then I
I
said,
don't,
"Oh, this is serious."
yeah, I don't, and we've talked about this too, and you guys know how I feel about trailers, especially with Marvel. If you listen to Marvel, one, when your trailer gives too much of the movie away, that's a pet peeve of mine. And then also when you give us too many trailers, that just kind of diminishes the excitement for me. It's not as
Yeah.
it doesn't get me as excited when you have 4 or 5 different trailers for the same movie. And but with this one, yeah, it's like just keep it that one trailer they had that caught me. Because I had saw the trailer a couple of times before you and I got together, and it was been the same trailer, and it's got me excited. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like that part, if they would have showed that part, I would have been like, yeah, why? I'm not gonna go see that movie because it is a very corny part of the movie. But if you play that out of context, it doesn't make sense. Versus if you play it, when you see it in the movie, it make the whole scene make sense. So I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. So let's get into and we're gonna try to not ruin too much. Let's get into your pros
So
of the
no,
movie.
okay. Well, I went and did a little research.
All right.
What do you think the budget was? Just a while from viewing the movie. If
Okay.
you have you looked it up already?
I have not.
Just
So
from the movie, from looking at the setting, the production value, what would you assume this budget was?
mm, if I had to take a guess, I probably would have to put it at a cool. Well, no, I gotta think, not just setting, not just paying the actors. Probably a
Hmm.
cool 2 mil. Oh no. Am I off or am I like close? Okay. Okay. So moving
It was,
forward, Dom, this has got to be your thing for reviews now. You got to look up the budget. You got to tell me what it
I
was.
already know, $12 million.
You know
And
what?
I immediately said, you know what? See, at first I was upset. At first I was upset with that because I was like, where was it? Because we stayed in the same. Well, I'm not
Vicinity.
though. You know you got to help me
We
not
stayed
spoil
in
the
the
movie.
same vicinity
We stayed in the
for the
same
most
vicinity
part.
with the
Yes.
same 3, 4 actors in
Yes.
flashback. So I said, when you take salary out of that, okay, maybe half of that,
Hmm.
right? The people on the set, audio and visual and cameras and I mean I it looked real. So it didn't look like CGI it didn't look it the setting came across as very real. They perhaps could have been on a set, but I did not see 12. I I can understand that number
Hmm.
for salary and marketing and promotion of the movie. If all of that, it's not clear to me from the research I've done if all of that is included in
Right.
that 12 million. But now that I've set with that number, and it makes sense.
It
It
does.
makes sense. That's low for a movie, but here's this. How much do you think it did in the first weekend? Do you think they recouped that money with the marketing and promotion that you saw?
If they didn't go over, I would say they came either they hit it. So my thing is they either hit it or came very, very
Hmm.
close because
They
we
did
didn't.
not.
Oh,
Yep.
they did. Oh God.
They did not. You said it. You hit it on hit. And they got to nine. It did 9.5 the opening weekend, but it came across as their marketing and promotion to me came across as a like an indie film or kind of like a independent
Yeah. Yeah.
production, which it sort of is, just with a big production company. It just the way it was marketed because I didn't see it on mainstream.
Mm-mm. It
I
wasn't
got it from
pushed.
social media a lot.
It wasn't pushed. And I wonder now that you're kind of opening my eyes to the budgeting side of things. I wonder if they factor in marketing into a budget. So when they give the budgets for a movie, does marketing factor into that as well? Because it really doesn't seem like there was a lot of because a lot of people that I told them I was going to go see this movie hadn't heard of it. There were like very few people.
Yeah,
And normally, if I say, "Hey, I'm going to go see this movie," oh yeah, I can't wait to hear what you think or what. So they know of the movie. But this one, they really didn't know a whole lot about this movie. So you have a point. It wasn't
and
really pushed like that.
it's important to point out too with these budgets, not understanding what all goes into them, but I do know how they're calculated on the back end as far as they would have needed to make double that to
Mm-hmm.
break even. So their break even point was around $30 million to pay for to make those profit margins of those that invested in the movie and everything included. They needed to have made $30 million. But I'm definitely concerned that it won't do that, which means it's going to force it to DVD or not DVD. It's going to force it to streaming much earlier than
But it's a good movie, yo.
it
It's
is.
a
But
good
it could have
movie.
went straight to. Could you have seen it straight to streaming? Would have had the same effect, or did you need to see it in the theater? Because
I
I would
need to
have
see it
been
in the
at
theater.
home, at home in the dark on an 85-inch screen. We know you watch things on that 65 inch. It's fine. But watching it in a closed quarters with surround sound up close, I think it would have I pulled me in just a little bit more.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? In a quiet setting and it's
Okay.
dark and you're watching a thriller at home type of type of thing. But I appreciated its value in the theater as well.
Yeah, I think this may be one of those movies where it's a good movie. It wasn't pushed for in the movie, coming to movie theaters, and then once it
Yeah.
goes to streaming, then it is going to boost in popularity because it will be in people's faces, and then they'll be like, "Oh, well, let me see what this is," and then they will go out of their way to see it. So I agree, it is that type of movie. Um, any other things you actually liked about the movie? I know you mentioned the budget, but anything you liked about the movie itself?
She is so beautiful to me. I
Mm-hmm.
think any role, it's hard. I know she plays this hard character, but she has this elegance about her acting, um, in the same essence that I feel like Denzel does.
Hmm.
Where she like I see her in other roles because she's done so many other roles, but it's not long before I'm invested in the character she's currently playing. She held that down the entire
Yes.
time. Remember I said right after the movie, I was like, I felt like this was a deeper version of Never Let Go. I felt with Halle Berry
Yeah,
and
you
those
did say that.
kids.
Yeah.
The same type of defiance, it kind of mirrored different plots and different contexts in the background. But it was a good, she did a great job acting. It was not the actors. My disdain or my disposition with the movie is not from the acting ability.
Yeah.
It was, I thought they did a good job once I understood what they wanted from the kids and the type of role they needed to play. And then even the protagonist in the, or the woman in the yard,
Antagonist, yes.
um, antagonist,
Yes.
I, I would watch it again. I wouldn't go
Yes.
to the movie theater to watch it again as fast as I would say Mickey 17. Completely
Hmm.
different things, but just my
Completely
excitement
different.
about the movie. Like I saw it once and I was like, okay,
Yes. I think for me what I liked was the simplicity of it.
it
And
was, yeah.
here's what I mean. So I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys. The simplicity of it is there literally are five actors in this movie. If you look up Woman in the Yard cast, it's five actors in this movie. It's not a lot of people. It's five actors, and the setting, it's literally in just one home somewhere in the country, and that's it. And it's, yeah, it's very simple there, so it doesn't overshadow the story they're trying to tell. And I think some movies, do that where too many people in the cast, too many different settings, and then the storyline gets either missed or it's just too much going on. Here it was like, we gonna keep it simple. We gonna keep it to one location, but obviously different settings in the house and
Hmm.
outside, but they kept it simplistic so you were able to follow the story more than everything else that was going on. And that's what I like,
No,
was the simplicity.
based on your comments, earlier you just said, you corrected me, you said antagonist, but I was serious by saying protect. When I'm thinking when you think about the story and even how it ended, think of the
Mm-hmm.
entire, who actually was the protagonist. The writing was very clever.
Yes.
But hear me out. Once we understood what was going, look, once we understood what was going on,
Yes.
uh,
Because it took us a while.
I, I, I struggled back and forth. I was like, is that the pro? I mean, when you think about it, who was
Right. No, and I
the main
like
character
that
was the main
because it
character,
did
but it
it
makes
did make
sense.
you
But
think. It made you stop and think like, okay, well, who is
especially what you
who?
said at the very end of the movie, you were like, oh snap! You said this. We had this all backwards.
Yes. I was like, yo, the way the trailer, not like that. The trailer kind of swerves you, because
Hmm.
the trailer, you really don't know who the woman in the yard is. You really have no
You
idea.
see, you
And
don't until you
you really
know.
don't until like the almost towards the end. And because they kind of reveal who she is, like, when she appears, but you still really don't know who she is
I
until the
immediately thought it was like I was wrong. I immediately thought it was a spiritual type of thing or type
Mhm.
of entity. I thought that's the vibe they were going to get
Right.
out of that. But it's nice to see a manifestation
There's a message with this movie.
with how it. This is really hard. Not giving spoilers because I'm
Welcome to
going
my
over stuff in my
world.
head and I'm
Welcome to
just
my
like,
world.
golly,
Welcome to my world.
it's worth watching. But you
Yes.
have to be able to watch films like not necessarily slow burn, but there's so many pieces that are missing until they aren't. So you have to almost keep a ongoing puzzle,
Hmm.
in front of
You
you
gotta keep a
and grab the
Rolodex in your
pieces and
brain.
put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I was
Yeah.
really confused with the
Yeah.
the role of the kids until oh, see, I was I
You
was about to give the whole scene
you
away.
better you better not. You better
I'm
not.
trying. I'm trying. Okay. It it's like you don't know until you know.
You
It
don't.
is worth going. It is
Yes.
worth watching. Is it worth going to the movie theater to run and go see like that other upcoming film that I know we'll record about? But is I don't know that I would send somebody else to run. But if I saw another trailer just like this or gave me the same vibes,
Yeah.
I would have that same zeal to go and see it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard because the trailer really hyped me up. And I don't feel like the movie disappointed. I think for me, it is a very solid movie. The way that the trailer went and then watching it, it swerved me a little bit, but that it was a good thing. It was a good
Can I
thing.
talk? Can I talk about what didn't, not what didn't make sense, but what I my expectation without giving a spoiler?
Give your expectation and then go into what your cons were, because that's what I want to talk about too. I want to talk about what we didn't like about the movie.
Well, I'll start with the cons because it folds in together. I wanted more action. I wanted some hand to hand combat, or I wanted now it resolved in a not a necessarily predictable way, but we saw the resolve once it was happening,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I wanted to be in the process. Like once we figured out what was going on, I was like, okay, now the movie has started, but we only got 15 minutes left. You know
Mm.
what I mean? So it was
Yeah.
a little. I wanted more. Like the ending, I was just like, oh, I wanted more from the ending. I think if I had more from the ending, which I still think was good, like I said, you have to have kept that puzzle throughout the whole movie. If I could have had more from the ending, like the process you walk through
Yes.
to,
Yeah.
I mean, we got the
Yeah.
flashbacks. Okay, we
But
got the
remember, like I
flashbacks.
said, they left some meat on the bone.
They
They
did. And
left
I
some
was
meat on
like,
the bone.
don't do that if you're not setting us up for
Hmm.
the next version, a woman in the backyard or the man in the yard, children in the yard. If this is going to be a series, that's all connected, which isn't a bad idea.
The,
Um,
the woman in the
grandma in the
back.
backyard. Oh,
The woman in the backyard.
chef in the backyard. I mean, there are so many
Oh
things.
man, that's funny. Yes, I get what you were saying. You're thinking kind of two steps ahead, where it's could you continue this type of, could this have been the next kind of like black horror movie franchise? I get what you're saying. Um,
Now, what?
for me, I'm gonna
Go
keep it
ahead.
to I'm gonna keep it to just the movie and not necessarily a sequel, but I'm gonna keep it to just the movie. And I had told you this
Mhm.
when we were leaving the theater, was I felt like the writing was a little too clever because they kind of backed themselves into a corner with the writing,
Mhm.
which then in turn, like I said, left a little meat on the bone. And then you even kind of were still left just a tad confused at the end of the movie. Because at the end of the movie, Dom's my witness. I literally turned to Dom and I was like, are you like, I don't really
We were
know.
wrong.
Yeah, we were wrong, but we still had questions. And to me, I feel like if you're gonna be clever with your writing, it's good to keep people guessing, because we really couldn't tell what was gonna happen. And I did like that we couldn't predict. When it gets predictable, it gets boring for me. I've told you guys this before. When it
Mm.
gets
Yeah.
predictable, it gets boring. But it wasn't predictable, but then it left us still with questions at the end, which to me, it's like that's still not good either. When you leave me with questions, it's like, did you clear up everything you were trying to explain to me?
So you're saying in that very first scene,
Mm-hmm.
or even from the trailer, you didn't predict that, maybe not the process to the final outcome, but you didn't predict that final outcome just based upon, now halfway through it, my prediction was right about what is going to happen specific at like the very last like what is the last emotion
Mm-hmm.
that comes from this. Well, I almost gave it away there just a second ago. I
About to
said,
do
what is
it.
the last emotion that comes from this? Now, midway through the movie, three-fourths in, my perspective, there was the I guess the climax, it almost shifted.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man. I was like, dang. But oh, I see, I was about to say it again. There's that thing that happened. Let me just
Gots
say
to
this.
gots to be more careful.
In the
Yes.
house,
Yes.
something happened
Yes.
in the attic. I put it there. Something
In
happened in
the
the attic.
upper room.
When Jesus, that's And my thought process did begin to change, but then
Hmm.
I got to the end of the movie and I was like, okay, that's exactly what I predicted.
Yeah.
I just wanted a little more. Y'all got me too, it got me too interested too late too further towards the end of the movie. And
Yeah.
then once I was fully invested, here
And
come the credits.
and here's the thing that Dom hasn't told you guys that we talked about. So I want to make sure that I explain what he's also saying is it wasn't that the movie um, was boring before the climax. It was good. They
Yeah.
honestly could have added more time to the movie. The movie was kind of short, so it
Was
wasn't
it
that
what,
they
an
were,
hour 15, hour
yeah,
20?
something like that. So it wasn't that they were taking too long to get to the climax. It's just that by the time we got to the climax, there wasn't a lot of time left for the rest of the movie. So if they would have stretched the time, then yes, that would have cleared up the issue that we both had with the movie. Was we wanted more at the end, but we needed everything that was explained and set up before that. So I don't want you guys to think like it was some long, drawn out
No,
situation.
because it was not long.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh my God, will y'all finally get to the like it wasn't that type of
It was
situation.
like an indie film.
Yeah, it was like literally everything that we needed was given to us before the climax. We just wanted more of the climax because there are
Yeah.
some movies where you're like, can y'all get on with it already? Like y'all just taking way too
Make it
long.
make sense. Yeah.
But yeah, this was a different type of situation. So I mean, I still overall enjoyed the movie. They it's another one of the movies like Flight Risk, where Flight Risk, I felt like they left some meat on the bone, especially with Mark Wahlberg's character.
You said that. Yeah, you
Yep,
said that.
it's basically the same thing. They left some meat on the bone, and then the way that the writing and the way that the movie went, there really is no reason to me for a sequel. So if you kind of, that's why I say you guys backed yourself into a corner because now it seems like this is the only movie that you guys are going to get. So take that extra time. I mean, but obviously now that you told me the budget, it makes sense why the movie couldn't even hit 2 hours. So that kind of makes sense there. But I mean, I'm not going to keep going on that. So, Dom, last thing, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So, if you had to give this a rating, 1 out of 10, 10 being the best, what would you give it?
N is a long way between 0 and 10. Are you able to shorten that?
I always
Because
do out of 10
I don't want to make it seem like it was a, I would give it a, in a particular aspect or just overall.
overall, just overall, the movie itself, the experience you had with the movie.
I would give it a 7.
Strong 7.
And mm, I would give it an 8 because I would give it an 8 because that the last 2 points for me would have had to have been the production value and then like I said the process, like show me the process to the resolve in the movie, like
Mm-hmm.
giving me more. And if it had given me more of that, it was good acting.
Yeah,
It was great
it
acting
was. It
and it
was good
looked
acting.
good, like production
Yes.
value, it looked good.
Yes. So I would say for me, I would give it I'll give it a 7.5. I can't give it an 8. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 because you left a little too much on the bone. You could have really given a little more to the time of the
What
movie.
would have got it to 8 for you
Like you said, give
if you
us
could
more of
pinpoint
the
any?
climax. Give us
Yeah.
more of
Oh,
the climax.
yeah.
And then remember what we had discussed, and I'm not going to give anything away, but give us more, just even an extra 2 minutes of flashback. Remember, I said that too. I was like, if they would have gave just a little bit of a flashback before we got to where we are at the beginning of the movie, it would have made even more sense of how they got to that point
There was that
as a
point though.
family. There
Can I
was
just
that
say one
point.
thing?
There was that point.
I just want to say one thing. At one point in the movie, I think we looked at each other like, "Where are the kids?" And then they came back, and then they were back. So praise God. That's all I'm gonna say. That's my spoiler because we were like, "Hold on." Because you know we both kid oriented. I mean,
We're the
we
babies.
we're
Listen,
who is
and
watching the babies while all this is going
that
on?
daughter tugged at my heartstrings so bad.
I know you
Ask
were we.
listen, Dom knew I was over there fighting for my life. I was like this under with my hand over my mouth, like, Lord, not the baby, not the baby, not the baby, not the baby. I was fighting for my life in that seat for that baby. I loved that
Oh
little girl.
man,
She was amazing. Everyone was believable. The family dynamic, they had the family like chemistry or lack thereof oh my god, they did a great job for it to only be five actors in this movie. Man, knocked it out the
but you hit
park.
it on the head. That is exactly where we needed the when you were talking about we needed flashbacks from the past because that was the one thing missing. If I didn't say it earlier, was the dynamic
Mm-hmm.
between the protagonist and its count. That
Mm-hmm.
that is the portion because I don't see that off screen. I can look at actors in a movie and go, oh, I can see that chemistry off screen. That was chemistry I needed to see
Yep.
to make that part believable. Because like I said, she always plays them tough.
Mm-hmm.
You them tough roles, and
Them
then here you
eyes,
are,
yeah, them
a
eyes.
girl.
When she make them eyes, like you.
I'd be like, boy, you going through something, baby. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna pray for you right now.
I believed everything she
Yeah.
was dealing with. So, man, first review together, man. This was fun. I cannot wait to do this a lot more in the future. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you to Dom for coming
Yeah.
in
Thank you. Thank you.
and being a part of the Fresh Take Cinema Show. He's a part of the family now, so I appreciate you, Dom, for jumping in and doing this. Uh, before we go, I gotta hurry up. We only got so much time to record this, so before we go, please make sure that you like the video, that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you're following us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. We'll, even if Dom is okay with it, we'll put his socials in the link or in the description of the video, so you guys can go follow and support him as well. But man, thank you so much, Fresh Takers, for watching. I love you guys as always. Till next time, peace.